Welcome to the Pacific Northwest stories from the deep timber with Bigfoot Fades. Rich in the tree line, glow in the dark, searching for prints and a mystical spark. The fog is rolling in like a VHS tape. High-speed chase for a shadow shape. Across the ridge, hear the elk calling. The snap of a branch, the weight of a thing. A thermal heat signature, lost in the gray. Whatever was there just faded away. A neon maze, lost in the woods for nights and days. The signal is peaking, the truth won't fade. The deep in the forest with Bigfoot face. West Coast stories. Never sleep, West Coast stories.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. I'm Sarah with Bigfoot Fades, and today I'm sitting down with Shane Anderson, a guest who truly knows his way around the Pacific Northwest. Shane isn't just a delivery driver, he's a seasoned Pacific Northwest elk hunter and a lifelong outdoorsman. He spent more time in the deep timber than most people spend in their own backyards. When you spend that much time in the brush, you know the sounds of the forest like the back of your hand. But a few years ago, while delivering propane to a restricted 911 tower near an area, he experienced something that his years of hunting couldn't explain. And I'm going to bring Shane up now. Thank you, everyone, for waiting. Hello, Shane.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing
good. Well, thanks again for joining the show. I appreciate you so much. Well, yeah, did you want to start? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Shane. I hunt, I fish, do a lot of deer hunting, a lot of elk hunting. Been out in the woods most of my life. Started with my dad when I was real young. Do mushroom picking, hiking. I mean, I'm in the woods a lot. So
nice. And you grew up in Oregon?
Yep.
Nice. That's awesome. How long have you been going hunting for? How many years?
I'm 40 now, and I've been going since I was probably 6. So
okay, nice. And just like a little disclaimer, we have a really cool elk picture that you got that I'd like to show later. Like, that's a pretty good one.
Yeah, it's a pretty decent one.
Nice. You usually like to go by yourself, or do you go out with other people? Or
I usually go with other people. Not always a safe thing to go out by yourself.
Yeah, there was that one recent Oregon hunter that didn't make it. So, well, yeah. Did you want to start with your story or the encounter?
Yeah, I was up off of Barlow. That's a trail. There's a biking and hiking trail up out of Barlow, and there's actually a 911 tower. It butts against Bull Run, and there's a 911 tower up there that's restricted, but it has propane up there, so I had to deliver propane up there. So I was allowed in there, and me and a coworker went in, and it felt kind of like something's watching you the whole time. And we came out, and we were doing our paperwork, getting ready to leave, and we had a boulder thrown at us that was, I mean, the size of like 2-3 bowling balls. It was huge. It got thrown at the side of the truck, and not just like low side of the truck. It got thrown at like the top of the tank, and we were kind of on like a flatter ground, so it couldn't have like fallen off the side of a hill or something like that. It was actually thrown at us, and when we seen the boulder and how big it was, my coworker and I looked at it like, yeah, no, we're out of here. And so we beat foot out of there, but I had to go back a couple other times, and every time I went up there, it was like somebody was or something was watching us, um, or watching me, and it, just the hair on your arms stand up, and like just felt like something was watching you. So I never really did like going up there because it just felt weird. So that was my one encounter there, and it was pretty gnarly. It wasn't very it was kind of scary. So
And what year was that?
oh, that was probably 2022 probably.
Okay, so kind of recent then.
Yeah.
And that's Bull Run area, so that's like I'm looking at a map right now. That's kind of like because originally I was thinking Brightwood, but that's more over in the
Yeah,
mountain
no, this was out by Brightwood. So,
by
but
Brightwood.
it
Okay.
butts, yeah, it butts when you get farther in, it butts to Bull Run area. So,
Okay. And it's a pretty remote area up there. Can you describe the area?
yeah, it's pretty remote. You get out there and there's not many houses, and there's the one park right there, and it goes up, and it's like an active biking trail and stuff. So a lot of people kind of go up there, but there's that one section of it that's off limits. It says signs everywhere, no trespassing, not people aren't allowed up in there. So
Yeah, doesn't the sign you were saying says something like you'll go to jail if
yep,
trespass? Okay.
yeah, trespassers will be prosecuted and jail, and yeah.
Why do you think that is? That it's for the
I think
911 tower or
Yeah, I think a lot of it's for the 911 tower. I mean, you got Bull Run too. That's the same way.
okay.
You get into Bull Run, and if you get into parts of Bull Run, as you get to the limit of Bull Run limits, there's signs everywhere that says "Don't cross this." Now I've heard of people getting in a lot of trouble for crossing that.
Okay. Hi Brian. Hi Andrew. Hi everyone. So now that Bull Run's where Portland gets most of its water, like Portland, Oregon.
Right.
Okay. So what does that propane up there do? Is it just kind of help fuel? Like what is that system
So
up there?
it's the propane's for the generators. So if power goes out up there, it kicks the generators on and allows the generators to run, so the tower will still run.
The 911 tower?
Yep.
Okay. Do you know anything about 911 towers? Because I don't know much about them. Like, does somebody hang out in those all the time or
No, no, they're remote.
okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Have you heard of any other reports in that area, or does it seem like an area where, like a one-off experience, or does it seem like an area where they'd be existing to you, or what are your
I,
thoughts
I
on it?
think I think they exist in Bull Run. I mean,
Mhm.
nobody's allowed in there. It's heavily guarded to where people can't go in. And it's a big area. And it's
Okay.
a lot of thick, rugged timber. So
How far is that from like Lolo's Pass?
uh probably 15 miles or so.
That's not very far at all. I'm looking on a map right now.
Maybe
Bigfoot
20.
Society just had a bigger show where Lolo Pass. There was a guy and his girlfriend going through there, and he had a dirt bike, and she was on a horse, and they heard like four of them, like a whole family of them.
Yeah.
That's pretty close to that area too.
Yeah.
Have you heard any other like reports from any friends or anything?
Yeah. So I actually, this last elk season, we were up in the Wilson unit up out of timber, and we were hunting there. We got in there early, and we were kind of scouting, and we were on elk. We knew where they were, so we came back in the same area come opening morning, but it was so foggy, you couldn't see 10, 15 feet in front of you. It was so foggy. It was real thick fog. And two of my buddies went in below us where we had seen the elk. Um, they went in and they got in probably a mile or two into it, and they started hearing like big branches break, and not just like one or two, like a bunch of big branches breaking. And they said it was just really eerie. It wasn't like they said it didn't sound like a bear or something doing it. It would, it was eerie. Something was breaking big branches and they didn't know what it was and they couldn't see it because it was so foggy. And they were like, yeah, no, my buddy said, dude, the hair on the back of my neck stood up and we were like, nope. And we backed out.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that when there's like no sound? Because you've said something about that, no sound around, like there's no critters, and it's just kind of the hair on your neck stands up. What makes you feel
Yeah.
like that makes that happen?
I feel like it's just something watching you. Like, your sixth sense can kind of tell there's something's watching you or something's there. Um, I've had that happen to me up at Blue Box Pass up on Mount Hood, heading towards Warm Springs. I hated filling that tower. That specific one was really weird. Every time I'd
Right.
fill it, it felt like something was watching you. It's just always felt like something was watching you. And I mean, I'm a mushroom picker too, so I like mushrooms and stuff. And I could see them back in the woods, but I could also see where like trees were bent over, like in a U shape, all over back in there. And it just felt like something was watching you. So I never left the tower. I'd go in, fill it, and get out of there.
And you said on that one that you felt like something was circling you.
Yeah, it just felt like something was always watching you in different spots. Like moving around, trying to see where you were at. Because I was in a fenced area.
What do you think the connection is between the high communication towers? Like why they're elevating around those?
I don't know. Maybe it's the signal that it produces or something. Maybe commits some kind of or transmits some kind of frequency that you can't hear, but they can.
Like growing up, did you hear any stories about Bigfoot, or like how old were you when you kind of like first started believing in it?
My grandpa and my dad used to talk about it all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
What would they say? Like just encounters, or they believed in it too?
yeah, they believed in it too. They always told me, don't ever go out in the woods alone. One, you can get lost, and two, there's Bigfoot out there.
Oh, wow. Okay. And they all grew up in Oregon?
Yep.
Okay. Did they see anything or any of their friends ever?
Now, my dad said he's seen what he thought was a Bigfoot in the woods.
Really?
He used to talk about it all the time. He'd said he'd seen tracks, big tracks that you couldn't explain. So
Okay. Did he physically like see like the actual Bigfoot ever?
yeah, he said he's seen one. He could just see like the silhouette of it in the woods. It was getting dark, and so it was kind of fading light, so it was kind of shadowy. But he said he's seen something big going, and it wasn't an elk or a deer. It was standing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Ooh, so after seeing and all these encounters, and you still go elk hunting to this day?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So you're not afraid to go out there?
No.
Okay. What would you do if you came up to one? Like, what would your thoughts be?
Depending on what it would do. I mean, if it was aggressive, I'd probably shoot it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I'm hearing that a lot of them are aggressive. I just don't know if you have time to get your camera out and actually like get a picture of one or not.
Right.
Yeah. There was actually a person, I won't give out the exact location, but he got a deer. This is back in, I want to say 2018. Or no, I think that one was actually around 2022, but he got a deer and one came out of the clearing and tried to take the deer from him. And he thought it was a bear at first, but it wasn't a bear.
Yeah. Like,
So, yeah.
I believe that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was gonna show that elk picture. So if anyone, is that cool if I show that?
Yeah.
Cool. I'll
You
show
think
the.
about it, back in, this, prehistoric age, cavemen and stuff, we as humanoids or whatever, we were scavengers. We didn't start hunting our food until we started realizing we could make weapons and do that. But we were actually scavengers. So predators would kill food and we would take it. So it makes sense for Bigfoot to take kills.
Yeah, I've kind of wondered why they would like actually just take the food. It seems like they kind of follow along humans and will either scavenge out of their properties, or they know that they have feeding grounds, or if they're hunters, they'll kind of follow them. I'm hearing more reports of that.
Well, if you look up like mountain lion kills,
Hmm.
it'll show like sometimes it'll show where a mountain lion has buried a kill under stuff. Um, I don't think that's necessarily a lion because most lions will, feed and try to drag it up a tree. Um, so I think it's being buried by something else other than a mountain lion.
The kills are.
Yeah,
What are they buried under? Like giant boulders or rocks or?
no, like big branches and stuff like that, leaves and shrubs and stuff like that.
Yeah, a mountain lion's probably not going to go take a whole branch and throw
Right.
its kill under there and everything. Going back to that boulder incident, how big was like the dent on your propane truck when you took it back to work?
So those tanks are probably 3 inches thick. And it actually put a dent in it, like probably a 50-cent piece size dent in the tank.
Wow. And you were in the vehicle when it happened?
Yeah, it shook the truck.
And so it was you and what was your coworker too?
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys were just kind of sitting there ready to take off, or you just arrived?
Yeah, we pulled out and we were doing our paperwork and getting ready to leave, and that's when it happened.
Did you guys get out of the truck and go look at it, or did you just take off?
No, when we seen how big the boulder was, we were like, that's no, we're leaving.
So 3 bowling balls, so that would be like probably about
Yeah.
like this big.
Yeah, it's as big as my chest, and we tried to reenact it when we got back to the yard. We grabbed a big boulder out of the yard and tried to throw it. And me and my buddy are both big guys. He's bigger than me, and I'm 6 foot, 300 pounds, and we couldn't throw it like that.
Oh wow. Have you ever gone back up to that area since then?
I had to go back up there a couple times just to fill that tower, and like I said, it just felt like something was watching you. But I'd get in there, fill it, and just leave.
Wow. And then so you have like the tower, and then you're driving up there. How far away is like the tree line from the opening of where you're accessing it?
Where it got thrown at me, it was probably a good 25 feet to the tree line.
Okay. So it threw it 25 feet because you couldn't see it.
No, yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah.
Have you heard any other stories about like rocks being thrown or?
I've heard on different people talk about it, on videos and stuff of people of rocks being thrown and branches and stuff like that. A lot of rocks. It seems like a lot of rocks get thrown.
Okay. Yeah, I was driving down 211 one night, and then it was like pretty dark out, like 5 o'clock, and there was like no vehicles in front of me and none behind me. And I wasn't even into the Bigfoot stuff yet, and like a pretty good sized rock came out, and it didn't break my windshield, but it like hit my windshield. And I've had
Mhm.
some hit my windshield on, freeways and stuff, and it's loud, but this was probably 3 times louder. And there's a lot of like cliffy, rocky stuff there, so it could have just fallen off the cliff. But what are your thoughts on that? Do you think one could have just thrown one and magically got my windshield?
Yeah, I've actually had a windshield broke, rock the size of my fist, maybe a little smaller, but a good handful size rock on the way to the coast actually hit my window and broke it good. I mean, just spiderweb the hell out of it, and
Okay,
it just came out of nowhere. Nothing could have kicked it up or anything. There was no cars around me.
really? You think that could have been like a Bigfoot or Sasquatch or?
I think so. Could have been, throwing them from the woods.
Really? Like they're just sitting there like throwing them at cars?
Yeah, I feel like they when they want to move, they want to try to get people away from where they're moving so they don't see them. But
That's a good thought. I didn't even think about that. Interesting. Because I kept wondering, like, why would it just be sitting up there? Like, I hate cars and I couldn't
no, I
think of
think
the.
it's more like they're trying to move through the woods, or and then they come across a road, so they have to they're trying to stay out of sight, and
Okay.
so they're trying to get whatever's there out of there.
Interesting. Yeah. I've been kind of wondering about that because even up on 211, like when you get way further into Colton areas and stuff like that, there's been reports back 30 years ago where there was a guy and his mom and aunt. She was actually on a documentary about Bigfoot, and then they saw one just take like 3 steps across the road.
Yeah.
And so that whole region's had, different hot spots before, but
Well, even up 224 or 212 here, 224 up in the burn area. So when right after the burn, I actually talked to a flagger lady up there, and they kicked all the firefighters and everybody out of there, and government vehicles went up there. And she says she's seen them pulling, big tarps out of the woods.
what do you think those were?
I think they're a Bigfoot. That's what she said. She said the same thing. She thought it was Bigfoot. She says she thought they were just trying to cover it up so people couldn't find them. I think there was a family living up there, family of Bigfoot living up there, and they knew it. And when they found them, they had to get them out of there so people didn't find them.
And that was the lady you said she was like at a store and told you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was after the fires in what was that, 2021, 2020, 2020?
Yep. Yeah.
Bump in the Night had a question, said, where did your experience happen? They were late.
So where it hit my tank was up on Barlow Road. So there's actually a park up there. So if you go up and you
In
go
Oregon.
towards, yeah. So if you go towards, see if I can pull a map and find that.
Yeah, because a lot of people watching the show might not be from Oregon. So Barlow Road, Oregon.
Yeah. So it's called Sandy Ridge Trail Systems.
Okay. That's crazy. So that kind of general area, huh?
Yeah, and so where I was way up in there. And there's a 911 tower way up there.
Okay. Yeah, if anybody has any other questions too, definitely feel free to ask. And thanks for keeping it all family friendly, everyone. Yeah, so I definitely think with the rock throwing, what do you think that means when they're throwing a rock at your propane tank?
I think
Like,
he's
what's
trying
that?
to get me out of there.
Yeah. Wendigo, Dogman. Have you ever heard of any other like paranormal, like orb or Dogman or anything like that type of stuff? Or
Yeah, I've heard of a lot of stuff like that. They're just stories that I've seen online and stuff about like basically a chupacabra or a dog person or a skinwalker, stuff like that.
I had a guy tell me something about back in the day in the area that we're talking about. There was a couple of giant, big, like Dogman, Black Panther looking things that were spotted running across the road. Have you ever heard of anything like that in the area from like any friends or family?
No, no, I've seen
Okay.
some giant coyotes out here though.
Really?
Yeah, coyotes that are like the size of a Siberian husky, like big ones, and they're not
Okay.
afraid of people.
And I'm gonna show a picture of this elk that he got. So just if you have a stomach, then maybe look away for a second. Let me show. This is an elk hunter, so we're showing some elk hunting stuff. So here we go. So this is a elk that Shane got here. Here we go. That's a pretty big one. Tell us about that.
That was Wilson Unit, same area. That was actually only like, I'd say, half a mile or so, 3/4 of a mile from where my buddy was hearing all the branches break and everything, where he thought it was Bigfoot.
In that area there.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a deep canyon that runs through there, and it's kind of hard to get to. And they'll kind of run the side of the hill up and through this area. And Yeah, it was right on the edge of that deep canyon where he heard it, heard all the branches breaking.
Okay, and then I'm going to show the other one here of the. So this one you could actually see all their breath. You were saying,
Yeah, that was on 211 heading towards Sandy.
really?
Yeah, it was probably right around this time of year-ish. It was, winter time, so it was cold out. But yeah, you could see all their breath, and that was actually a really cool picture. I pulled over and took a picture of that.
Yeah, that's a really good shot there. That's something you'd see
Mhm.
on like a wallpaper. Are you
Right.
gonna get this like printed out and mounted and all that, like on your wall or something?
I've
This is
thought
pretty
about it.
good.
I've had it for a while. I've thought about it though.
Yeah, that's a really good shot. I
Yeah.
feel like there's just so much like AI stuff nowadays, and I dabble in it obviously, but just seeing like nature shots, I actually have a lot more appreciation for them because this is something real that you went out there and actually got yourself.
Yep.
And it looks like they're actually kind of looking at you. They're like, "What's this guy up
Yeah.
to?"
Yeah, they were looking at me. They were watching me.
What do you think? Like in your opinion, what do you think like Bigfoot eat? Do you think that they could actually take down elk? I've heard of deer.
Oh yeah, they could take an elk if they wanted to.
How do you
Throwing
think that they
rocks
would do
and
it?
breaking big branches and stuff. I mean, if they were stealthy enough, they could hit them with a branch and knock them out and tear them apart if they wanted to.
Yeah, someone was telling me, I can't remember if it was you or who it was. They were saying that they came across a deer or something that looked like it had been hit in the head with like a giant rock, and then when
Yeah,
they
not
went back, it was like gone or something.
not me.
Okay, yeah, and I thought, dang, like taking it out with a rock, that's pretty crazy.
Right?
And then there was another picture. Let me see that one with that little doll thing.
Oh yeah,
Let's see if I can find that real quick.
yeah. I was over in the Wilson too. That was like 7 to 10 feet up in the tree, up on a branch, just sitting there.
Here we go. So yeah, so this is 12 feet up in the tree.
Yeah,
What the heck?
yeah. It was crazy.
How's that gonna get up in a tree? And what's that next to it? Is that a cup?
It's I think it's a placard, or
Like
maybe it is a
visit.
cup. I don't know. I was so fixated on the doll that I was like, "What the hell? That could be a cup." Not sure. I might have to go see if I can find that next year again. See if it's still there.
Yeah, because I've heard other reports where they've found stuff up in trees, and
Mhm.
a lot of times they're really attracted to like blue items and stuff. So it looks like this was possibly taken out of like a camp or a person's house. Like this looks like, yeah, like
Yeah,
some little kid's toy. Um, and then can I share that picture of you with the mount? Is that Mount Hood in the background, or
yeah,
that's a good shot?
yeah. That was up on a fire tower.
Oh, really? Okay, that's a good one then. Let's see. Yeah, that right there. When was that taken?
Oh shoot, I don't remember. That was probably 2022 or 2023, somewhere in there. Probably
Up on the fire
2023.
tower?
Yeah.
So that way, that's up on the tower where you worked at, like where you were filling the tanks?
No, this was a little. This was like. Oh, where was that one? That one was more the other direction. It was one of the fire towers up there. I think that one was actually up towards Lolo Pass. Was how to get to that one.
Up Lolo Pass.
Yeah.
Okay. Dang. And then was there any other pictures that you wanted to share? Was there that one? What was that one at the coast, I think? Was it this one here, I think? Share screen.
Yeah, that was the fog. That was that day that all the branches were breaking. um, just down the other side to the right of that was where he was at.
That's where your friend was?
Yeah, he was down. If you kind of see the trees in the background, the tall trees, they go kind of down to the right. Down to the right over there is where he was at.
Down in here?
Over to the right a little more. Yeah, he was over in there.
That your friend was?
Yeah, but it's about I don't know, half mile or so that way.
And then so they went down there and then tell me again about this one. So they had a whole bunch of branches breaking, but they didn't ever see what it was.
Yeah, they couldn't see what it was. They could hear the branches breaking, and it was close, but they were like they couldn't see because you couldn't see anything. That was actually when it lifted a little bit. You couldn't those bushes that are in the front right there. So that one looks kind of like an A. Like I honestly can't see your mouse, but not that one. The one to the left, right
This
there.
right here.
Yeah, when the fog was super thick, you couldn't see that.
Okay. Did you look like through anything to see if there's any prints or anything, or this was more of your friend's
That was more
experience?
him. Yeah, I didn't go down and look.
Okay. Have you ever found any prints at out hunting or at the towers or anything?
I've seen some big like drag prints. Like you couldn't. I mean, looked like a big shoe or something. Big someone's foot dragging. In a spot, but it didn't really look like a foot's print or anything. But it was a big spot that was kind of brushed away.
Okay. Um, that's crazy. Have you ever heard any like sounds like whooping or tree knocks or like crazy
Oh yeah,
smells?
yeah,
Really? What happened with that?
yeah. I've heard like knocking sounds out there where we hunt out there. So while we're laying in the tent at night, you hear knocking sounds and stuff, and it's like,
At this location?
yep,
And this is off the coast somewhere?
yeah, it's over in the timber area.
Timber, Oregon?
Yep,
Really?
yeah,
That's where one of my friends had an encounter over there and heard them out there talking. He said
yeah,
there's like some train tracks over there. Have you seen the train
yep,
tracks that run across a creek? Hmm.
yep,
Yeah, so you know exactly where I'm talking about then.
yep. Hold on, let me
That's crazy. I didn't know that this was timber.
on a
That's
second. I'm
interesting.
gonna send you something here in a second. I just sent you one.
Okay. I know who that is. All right, 1 second. Let me save and be 1 second. These are really great shots. So when are you going on your next hunt? Or going out to the forest next?
Well, we're gonna be out October and November.
Okay. Yeah, that seems to be a pretty good time to go elk hunting. Are you doing bow or rifle?
Rifle.
Okay. And then let me see, share screen. All right, there we go. Yeah, so what's going on here?
That's just our. That was just down in those tracks. That's a deep area. That's super hard to get to, and to drive down there is not fun. You're on the brakes the whole time. So if you don't got good brakes, don't go down that road.
Really? That looks scary. I don't know about that tunnel. You drove
Yeah,
into
we
that?
walked in there quite a ways, and you could hear, like rocks and stuff. And it's probably the tunnel in some places giving way, but yeah, I mean, you get down in there and it's like, I don't want to go any further than that.
That's crazy. Have you heard of any other stories from like that Timber, Oregon area?
My buddy's had some weird stuff happen up there. We've had where we were up there and went down a road and then came back and there's a freaking giant tree in the middle of the road blocking your path.
Really?
Yeah, we had to cut it up with a chainsaw.
Wait. Tell me this again. So you're driving through You come back, and then there's a tree just in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, there was so that particular time there were several. It actually blocked off an area on almost all the roads. Trees fell across them, and we had to cut them up and get them out of the way so you can get through.
What were you doing? You went in there to go hunting?
Yep,
And okay, so how long were you in there before when you came back out and saw these trees?
5 minutes went down, the road ended, and we turned around.
What? What do you think it was?
We were like, "What the hell?" Like glad we didn't come here through here when it fell. It didn't fall on us.
What do you think it was?
I have no idea. It was a pretty big tree, so I don't think it was. It was probably 2 feet around. So it was a pretty big tree. I don't think it was a Bigfoot maybe pushing it over, but
You think it could have been?
I mean it's possible. I mean it was weird because there was like 3 different roads that happened on, and it kind of blocked off the area. One of the roads was the main road in, and one a tree blocked it.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, what do you think about that one guy story that I know where he went into timber and you heard a couple of them talking really loud? He said it sounded like they were on a big PA system. And he goes, yeah, when I went in there, and I think he said he was on his quad or something going elk hunting.
Hmm.
And he goes, his stomach and his back just like immediately like hurt, and it sounded like they were speaking Russian. And he couldn't see him, but one was in this tree clearing, and one was in this one, and they were talking to each other. And he said it sounded like they were breaking branches and like building something. And so he just knew to like get the heck out of there, and that was in that timber area.
Yeah. And I could see that. There's a lot of areas there that's you can't really get to. I mean, it's so steep and so rugged that a lot of guys won't even go in there because it's too rugged. You get hurt trying to get in there.
Really?
Yeah,
Like a lot of experienced hunters won't go in there.
yeah, yeah. A lot
Hmm.
of spots that are just too steep, too rough a terrain to try to get into.
Okay. Are there any other areas in Oregon where hunters have learned like kind of just stay out of those
There's
particular
there's
areas?
there's some areas that are blocked off to hunters that we can't even get into.
Like what? What do you mean?
Like they've blocked them with gates, so you're not allowed in there.
I heard something about that. Like if it's like a orange or a red gate, that's a high risk zone. Like they
Um,
know that those are the bad Bigfoot.
red Stimson is usually Stimson lumber. White is oh shoot, what is that? Um, the one everybody hates right now. Uh, oh, I can't think of the name of it right now. Everybody
But have
hates
you
it.
heard of them? Like, because I heard on, I think it was like Flash of Beauty or one of those shows. They were talking about how they were saying that they're actually associated with high risk zones, is what it actually means. Do you think that could be true?
I don't think so. The gate colors are different timber companies, so they have different color
Okay.
gates. So like where that's what it is. Weyerhaeuser is white. Stimson's red. Uh, I think forestry's yellow. So if it's a yellow gate, it's forestry, and forestry's blocking it off.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because I haven't known what the colors of the fences mean, but there's been a few shows that have tried to explain it a little bit, and so I try to pay attention, and that's interesting.
Yeah,
So there's some hunters that just won't even go in there, or they're not allowed in there.
yeah. It's just some areas are just too rugged to go into. I mean, you can, but it's risky. You stay on the road. You don't get out. You don't really come off the road much, but there's some steep terrain out there.
Interesting. Is there any other stories that you want to share that like you've heard of that would just maybe didn't make sense to you out in the woods?
Not too many that I can think of. I mean, been out in the woods a long time, so you hear all sorts of different stuff out there, but you don't really start thinking about it till it starts getting kind of weird.
Yeah, do you feel like there's a lot going on out there that we just don't know about that isn't really in the Mount Hood National Forest guidebook? What would you tell
Yeah.
people?
Yep. There's places out in the woods that people haven't even stepped foot in. It's too
Really
far in, too rugged a terrain. You can't get into it. So, yeah, there's places that people don't go.
interesting. Well, yeah, I mean, I feel like you definitely have seen some things, and that big boulder rock, that's crazy.
Yeah, that was pretty nuts.
Do you ever think you'll go back up there and like look around and see if you'll see that guy that threw it out at you, that Bigfoot?
Nope.
No,
Nope. No way.
just kind of get a peek at what he looked like. Do you ever
Yeah.
want to see one?
I wouldn't mind seeing one at a distance. I think that'd be cool.
I feel like if one like ran out in front of me and kind of like stopped and looked at me and I waved and it waved, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
But I've heard different encounters. It just kind of depends on if they're friendly or not. So it's,
Right.
I don't know. Do you think you don't think you'd want to like go out there and actually like avidly be looking for them though?
I mean, I think it'd be cool to find them, but like at a distance. I mean, I wouldn't want to have to try to fight one
For
or have to
sure.
kill one. I mean, I'd hate to have to kill one. That would just suck.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on like why they haven't like come out and told us about them yet, like officially?
I think because too many people will start looking for them. And then
Yeah.
it'll be like, they tell you can't hunt things, like you can't hunt elephants or rhinos, like they're extinct, but you're going to get those poachers that are going to do it to sell them on the black market. So, they don't want people to start killing them and selling them off on the black market.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
All
I
it
could
takes
see
is
that being a thing.
all it takes is one person to be like, "Oh yeah, their teeth are medicinal," you know. I
Hmm.
mean, you got them. People are killing them all the time to get their teeth because it's a medicinal thing, and they're going to sell it. So,
Yeah, I know they've actually like been hiding like the reports and stuff too. I know one guy and his dad's friend is no longer, he's passed away from cancer, but this guy that was a forest ranger up in Washington was getting reports. And there was one, I don't know, do you go fishing at all?
yeah,
Okay. So what's that called when you have fish like on a line, like a fish stringer, like
yeah.
when they're all on the hooks? Okay, so the guy's fishing, he's got them all on like a fish stringer. And here comes a Bigfoot just walking down the river, and he like takes his fish and like takes off with them. So the guy goes and tells like the forestry center and gives them a report, and the forest guy tells this guy's dad that he ends up just throwing the reports away because they don't really want to tell the public about them, and
Hmm.
if they do tell them about them, it's going to affect logging and people's perceptive of them and all that kind of stuff.
Well, yeah. I mean, think about it. If there's actually Bigfoot, if there's families of Bigfoot out there, they're not going to allow you to log areas because you're taking out their environment. So
Yeah.
there's already enough environmental people out there that are stopping logging, and that's just going to make it worse. So,
Have you seen that like Patterson Gimlin film from the 1960s? I want to say.
uh,
Yeah, that was, I want to say like Dwarf probably knows that area a lot better. He's down in those areas. I think that was a logging area why they were originally down there. But if you go to that Bigfoot museum in Boring, Oregon, they've got lots of details and artifacts and stuff, especially about that. But that was, I think, the first recorded footage that they've proven is real of Bigfoot was Patty.
hmm,
So that one's pretty cool. And even when she's like lifting her back foot up, you can see like the bottom of her foot's a little bit lighter, which is like normal for I don't know if they're primates, but like primate type
right,
creatures. But yeah, and they're saying too, like the colors on her body were kind of different colored, which if you're wearing a suit or something, someone's not going to go to all that detail. And it's
right,
also showing muscle and stuff. And then the height and the build of her, the guy that had got it was, I think he was like maybe like 6 foot, 5 or 6 foot, and they were saying she was, I want to say something like 8 foot. And I might be wrong about those exact measurements, but I always encourage people to look into the Patterson Gimlin film. It's one of the first where they came out and said, yeah, this one's officially real. Have you been over to that museum at all?
not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go stop in there.
Where is active logging? Dink asked.
Do what?
Someone asked where is active logging? I'm not sure. Like, I
Well,
don't know if they're asking like you if
there's
you know
there's
where it
active logging everywhere.
is. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I think that film was like a pretty good one. So, like, in your thoughts of, do you think they'd be more human or more primate?
I think they're kind of a mix between both.
Okay.
I was watching a video the other day about like structures. So like our big churches and our big buildings and stuff. Um, especially some of the ancient ones, older ones. Um, you know, 20-foot doorways. I mean, giants were real. I mean, we've just dwarfed down over the years, so I mean at one point in time there was people that were
Sure.
10 feet tall, um
Yeah.
so why couldn't there be Bigfoot that are 8 to 10 feet tall?
Right. Well, and it is kind of weird that North America doesn't have any kind of like primates either, and they're all over the rest of the world.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, yeah, I definitely can't thank you enough for like coming back on the show and sharing all these details. Was there anything else that you wanted to share at all with us?
No, and if I wind up with something else or have another encounter, I'll let you know.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, this is the second interview that I've had with you. And then I'm kind of like basically redoing all my interviews because at first I just didn't have like the live ones, so
Mhm.
trying to like just turn them all into that going forward. So I'm kind of getting rid of old episodes and redoing them, so this is kind of the first one for that. But I appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your rock throwing propane incident. I'm sorry that happened to you also.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy.
Yeah. So, any fun plans for the springtime and to go out and go on any hikes or adventure or anything
Oh yeah,
before?
mushroom picking as soon as spring hits.
So, okay, so there is some of that happening in springtime.
Yep.
Okay. What are the
Yeah, once
mushrooms to
the
look out for?
do what?
What kind of mushrooms to look out for in the springtime?
Right after the frost and everything, you'll start getting morels and um, you get like oysters and chicken in the woods, stuff like that. But the big ones, the morels that'll start popping up right after all the frost and all that stuff when spring starts hitting and it starts warming up a little bit.
Do you think Bigfoot eats those too?
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Uh,
He's up there
I've
like,
seen,
don't eat all my mushrooms.
I've seen where chicken in the woods are, 15 feet up in the tree, 20 feet up in the tree, and they're broke off.
Oh, really?
Like morel mushrooms, and I mean you can't unless you got a ladder, you're not getting up there. Like,
15 foot up there?
yeah,
Interesting. That is interesting. And a crow's probably not going to eat it.
no,
Huh. Yeah, I mean, there's something with mushroom hunters and like Bigfoot encounters too. Somebody else was telling me that, and then here's another one. You being one.
yeah. Well, I mean, hunters and mushroom pickers. I mean, you get out in the woods, you're quiet. You're just out there walking around looking for stuff, and so you're quiet, and the quieter you are, the more you see. So
Mm-hmm. That's very true.
you get out there and you're making noise and you're talking. You're not going to see much because they're going to hear you before you hear them.
Oh yeah, and someone said drop his channel, and you don't have a channel. You're just
Yeah,
like one of my friends that I actually know in real life.
yeah.
So that's actually how I brought Sheen on. So you've actually never done an interview for anybody before, have you?
No,
Okay. That was a really cool thing about having you on too, is that I feel like I just happen to know a lot of people that have like had Bigfoot encounters. So that's why I started my channel, because I really wanted to know. So I started asking my friends like, "Hey, have you actually seen anything out there?" And the more people I talk to, the more they're kind of open about talking about it nowadays, which is really awesome.
well, I think you actually asked our other buddy, and he was like, "Oh, actually, Shane has." So
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That's right. So yeah, it's interesting. It's funny how many people like it's like their dads or uncles or their moms, like somebody's seen something out there. And the more I talk to people, way more people have had encounters than I ever imagined.
mhm,
It's crazy. And I
yeah.
just think about all these people who just haven't even like thought about telling anyone because of whatever reason. But now they're all coming out. I mean, like Bigfoot Society, Bigfoot Michigan Rob, Sasquatch Theory. I
Well,
mean,
people probably thought, if they come out and say something, that people are gonna think they're crazy.
yeah.
But get out there in the woods and start figuring out that there's weird shit that happens out there.
Yeah. No, seriously, especially that Mount Hood National Forest, it comes up a lot. Especially Oregon. Someone's like, "Where exactly can you see them in Oregon?" I'm like, "Well, I'm not going to give out like exact
from
specific roads,
from
but
Mount Hood to the coast.
from Mount Hood to the coast."
Yeah, I mean, if you pull up a Google map and you look at the amount of thick wooded area between Mount Hood and the coast, and see where there's places that there's no roads. You can't get to that unless you're hiking in there. And a lot of guys aren't going to hike 30 miles into an area. So I think there's places where they're at that you aren't going to see them.
Where do you think that they're hiding in caves? Because that's where I would think they find like little caves or underground.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I see like those beddings or like those teepee type structures, and a lot of people think, oh, those aren't from Bigfoot because they're not really, they don't have like a top or roof to them. But I've also heard those could be, like birthing areas or areas where they're using it for like a little hideout to hunt for deer.
Hmm.
So maybe people are misunderstanding what
Well,
those structures
the,
are.
well, I think the bows and the branches are like, for them, it's like a landmark. So it's showing them where to go, you know. So they probably have a cave or somewhere to hide close by. Well, those bows are putting them in that direction so they know where they're going.
And then what do you think about like the tree snaps? Like when you see a half of a tree snapped, do you think that's like a warning, like don't go past this way, or they're talking to like territories, like male versus male, maybe
Yeah.
like this is my territory?
Yeah, I think it's kind of similar to like an elk or something when they're putting their scent and brushing a branch and scraping a branch. They're trying to say, hey, I'm bigger and badder than you. Stay away. You
When
know.
you're out there hunting, like are you able to like figure out where elk are just by looking at the territory? Like how would you
Yeah.
know like where really? Like what would you
Yeah,
look
you can
for?
find rubs and trails, and big thing with elk is you can smell them. So you can go
Really?
through an area and you can actually smell them. And sometimes it may not be elk that you're smelling, you know. But yeah, I mean, because elk, when they get into rut and stuff, they basically they pee on themselves. So
Really?
you get into an elk herd, you get real close to an elk herd, and you'll smell them. It smells like elk pee. Yeah, you can be driving down the logging road, and you got the windows down, and you can smell them. I tell my buddies all the time we're driving, I'm like, there's elk close because I can smell them. And they're like, what? No way. I'm like, serious, let's get out and check this area out. And we get out and check it out.
Really?
Sure enough, there's fresh tracks and fresh sign. And they're like, how do you smell them? I'm like, you can smell them. They stink.
That's crazy. So you can actually smell a elk, huh? I've heard
Yeah.
Bigfoot has a pretty bad smell too. It's like wet dog or it depends. Like I've heard some people say they've been around some that smell really great like flowers. So I don't want to, say that for all Bigfoot creatures, but
I mean, I've smelled some smells that I can't really describe out in the woods. Like, I don't know what it was. I don't know what the smell was, but it's just a weird smell. Um, so yeah, I mean,
have you ever been out in the woods and felt like time is stopped or like there's just no sound, like anything weird like that?
oh yeah, I just got dead silent.
Hmm.
Yep.
Have you ever had like time, like feel like time has been missing or like something like you're dizzy or something like that?
Mm, I mean, I fell asleep out in the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
While
Was
hunting,
it
looking over an area and just fell asleep.
just like that? Just like all of a sudden fell asleep?
Yep. Just sitting there watching and, wake up like, oh, shit, I better get moving.
Okay. Yeah, I've talked to some people and it's almost like they've talked about missing time or like it'll be like daytime and like it got really dark. It's one guy I'm gonna have on later, and her dad also saw one in Oregon when he was a kid. So I just was trying to associate that missing time and that whole.
I've been in an area where I got into it. It was early morning. It was getting lighter out, and it was light. It was light. I could see, and I got into this one area, and it was we call it black timber when you're out there, but it's you get into it, and it's like it's dark. It gets really dark in there.
This guy Andrew said, "I've seen a pic too of what happens when you pee on trail markers. Baker showed a tree Tim Baker showed a tree bow that was shredded down to nothing last April. There was Bigfoot teeth marks on the tree too. Oh, interesting. Huh. Yeah, I've seen a lot of different like tree bows or like a lot of X's and stuff like that in the
Yep.
fort from other people that are doing research and stuff, and that's pretty fascinating. Or
I've
like
also seen like a lot of branches, good sized branches, like crisscrossed and like almost nested in, a split in a tree. I've seen that too. And it's kind of strange. It's like, oh, how did that happen?
is there any other areas that you've seen that too? I think you were talking about some other, you don't have to give out specific areas, but where you've seen just kind of a lot of weird tree type stuff happening.
Yeah, all over out here in Estacada.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just like different stuff that doesn't really make sense.
yep. And the deeper you get in, the weirder things get. So
Interesting. Yeah, I went up the other day. I went up to 224 at that log jam. That was pretty fun. It
yeah,
is windy up there.
oh yeah,
I mean, I was sitting there trying to film, and my phone's like, woo, and I'm like trying to hold on to it, and I'm just out there by myself, and there's like a log truck pulled over, then I park, and I couldn't really see the log jam, so I go walk in, and I'm just up there by myself. I wanted to go check it out, and I don't know, I did get that creepy feeling, like, what if something's watching me right now? If a mountain lion wants to jump over right now and just snag me real quick. So, and I
yeah,
didn't go up there armed or anything, so I was like, I better probably like mosey on back.
yeah,
But I did go check it out. But there's some other spots that I want to go check out, kind of way further up in the areas where there's some reports like back from the 70s where one guy's dad actually, him and his friend and his friend's dad back in the 70s saw one at an old logging way station trying to rip a sink out,
Hmm.
like 1970s. So when I was talking to a friend, like, why would it try to rip a sink out? And they're like, maybe like a grease trap or something, or I'm like, oh, interesting. I didn't think about that. Like if hunters are putting food down there or something.
yeah,
So yeah, there's a lot of reports from the 60s, 70s kind of time. It's crazy how
yeah.
many of them are coming out now.
Yeah,
But
you see some weird things out in the woods. I mean, I've seen shoes and just random clothes like out in the middle of nowhere. Like,
really,
yeah,
huh? Yeah, it's like do you think someone took them out there or
yeah, like something took it out there and just left it. You know,
like a little trophy?
yeah,
Yeah, and then the sink issue. It wasn't a bear though. Like they saw it. It was a Bigfoot. It was not a bear. Because someone said in the comments probably bear. I'm like, no, it wasn't a bear though.
right.
So, and like one guy, he's actually in the hospital right now. One of my friends back in the I want to say 70s, he saw one when he was a kid in Estacada, and it just walked right out in front of him, 4 feet in front of him and his buddy. He said it was not a bear. It did not have a snout on it. I know what a bear is. That was not a bear. It was walking on 2 feet,
Yep.
and it was a huge Bigfoot. So, yeah, I love those kind of older reports too because they're there.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been out. I mean, I've been even in Eastern Oregon and had the wind blowing in my face and watching elk, and all of a sudden they just scatter. And watching them, they didn't know I was there, and they didn't smell me because the wind was blowing in my face. So that wasn't blowing towards them; it was blowing in my face. And then all of a sudden they just bolted.
The elk did.
Yeah,
Really? What do you think? Why do you think they did that?
and they smelled something else.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or heard something else.
Do you ever listen to any podcasts at all, like Bigfoot stuff yourself or
Every once in a while, I'll run across one and watch it. And
okay. You have any favorite shows right now that you're liking?
not really. I don't watch a lot of stuff. I'll see little videos on my phone every once in a while, but
Okay. Well, yeah, you ought to check out Bigfoot Society with Jeremiah. He's got a ton of Oregon stories. Definitely. That's how I started like realizing how much is going on in Oregon, and he's actually why I started my channel because I was kind of collecting stories to kind of help out, but
I
yeah,
kind of I kind of feel like that Bigfoot also has like they have a standard, like they won't kill like babies, like baby animals. I was hunting one time and actually called an elk into me, and I called a baby in, and I actually got to pet it like 3 times.
Wait, you called the baby elk in and got to pet it?
Yeah, it walked right up to me, and I petted its head, and it'd run off, and then it'd come back. And I pet its head, and it'd
Really?
run off, and it'd come back.
Oh, that's really
Yeah, it's
cute.
super cool.
Oh, that's, and I'm assuming you didn't get a picture of it.
No, I didn't have my phone on me.
Sometimes that's nice though, just to get to enjoy those moments and those memories and not have to photograph everything. I feel like
Hmm.
a lot of people, whenever people have their Bigfoot stories, it's like, oh, did you film it? Everybody wants everything on film, and it's like, no, maybe that
Right.
was their moment though. That was, I think if I saw one, I don't know, maybe I would just enjoy it and just take like down a mental data of what I'm seeing, its hair color, its size or whatever, and just try to, have a moment with the Bigfoot. So I don't think they like being filmed either, from what I've heard.
Well, yeah.
So I don't know. maybe
I think they're more intelligent than we think they are too.
I think
That's why
so
they can't.
too.
That's why they're not seen very often.
Yeah. Well, and I was thinking about that too. So if you're going in the forest, right? So they've got this whole forest area and you're going in the forest, and I don't know how far away, 100, 200 yards where they can smell anything. They
Yeah.
would know you're there before you even get there.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
I see a lot of people doing live streams and stuff, or streams of like going in the forest and they're filming, and I'm not knocking anyone or anything, but when they're filming, they're moving pretty fast. And
Hmm.
I've even seen people that have caught them on camera not known it, because they'll just be kind of slipping behind trees. So I
Hmm.
feel like if you're sitting there and you're watching a lot slower, and you're really looking for those like shadows behind the trees, I think that might be when you're going to see them. Not that I'm any
Well,
expert on
and
seeing,
a lot
just
of like seasoned hunters know that when you're in the woods, you're not looking for things that are vertical. You're looking for things that are horizontal.
hmm.
Because your deer and your elk, the back of them is horizontal. So when you're looking for animals in the woods, you're looking for this, not this.
Well, yeah, and then they know to like hide behind trees, and when they're peeking behind, I think the psychology with Bigfoot is that they think that they're still invisible,
Hmm.
but they're still trying to look. Because I would think of like what my mind would be in a Bigfoot. You're thinking, oh, this tree, they can't see me, but I still need to see them. So that's why you kind of see the tree peeking.
Yeah.
Um, and then and people aren't looking for something because they're thinking it's a tree, or they're just thinking it's a shadow with the leaves, like you're saying.
Right. If they're just peeking their head, where they're just getting their eyeball out, you're not gonna really notice it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Bigfoot dwarf. This is one of my friends. He's really funny. He's like, I like how we still say film. What's like the more modern thing to say? Footage? Film? Photograph? I know I still call people YouTubers, and I guess it's like streamers. I don't know. I'm a 80s baby, so there you go.
Right.
I got the 80s babies terms. But yeah, no, I think
You might see more if you take a VHS camera out there.
yeah, you think so? Yeah, I don't know. And I've heard that they kind of walk like, some people will think that they're seeing a horse, but it's actually a Bigfoot. They can walk on all fours like a gorilla too,
Mhm.
from a lot of reports. So that's kind of interesting. But I don't know. Why do
I
you
think
think?
when you think you see them and then all of a sudden they disappear, I think that's what they do is they get down to where you can't really tell, you can't see them as well. You know, if you're a hunter, you know what it is. They call elk the ghost of the woods because they'll just disappear.
Yeah.
So
And like, to circle back one more time about your story about like the wildfires, because I was kind of part of all that too. We had to actually evacuate because we're up
yeah.
in the forest too. So the lady was saying that they had to take body bags out of the forest, like the
Hmm.
forest workers were doing that.
Yeah,
And they're
like big ones, but they weren't just like normal sized body. They were big bags, and they showed up in white vans and black trucks and made everybody leave and stay away, and then they left and they were gone. That was it.
Yeah, I talked to like a forest ranger that works up in those areas too, and he's like, yeah, there was unmarked white vans up there, but we weren't doing that. I'm like, mm-hmm.
Hmm. Yeah.
But it's just like the Mount St. Helens, when Mount St. Helens blew. You've heard about that story, right? With the Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
Like the military went in, and Bigfoot Dwarf probably knows this story better than me because he's always on the BFRO website, and they have all these like kind of old school reports plus lots of new ones. And I think kind of long story short, there's like the big mountain like explosion, and then there's a bunch of Bigfoots that got burned, and so they had the military going in and trying to help them. And I don't know if they're actually like
Yeah.
relocating them, but they had like a guy come out and talk about his experience and said, "Yeah, we were totally part of this mission." And they had a translator go in and supposedly was like talking to them and stuff. What do you think about that story?
Yeah, I believe it.
Do you think it's kind of similar to what happened with the wildfires in 2021?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you think there's anything to like look out for with wildfires in the future? Like anything that would be like Bigfoot activity? Because I've kind of wondered about that too whenever there's wildfires, like who's taking care of like the Bigfoot communities?
Right. I think they go deeper, but I think the government helps them.
Yeah.
Gets them away from the fires.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, I could see that being a thing for sure. Well, yeah, I feel like
and I
yeah, is
think
there anything
I
else
think
you
it
wanted?
also happens like sooner than you think. Like when there's a fire starts and they're trying to get it put out, I think they move them in other areas away from there, so that if it gets to there, they're not being seen.
Yeah, I could see that too, especially with like the moms and the babies too. Like if it's
Mhm.
a rogue one that's like, no, you ain't catching me. They're like, well, all right.
Yeah.
you know, but I don't know if they would know to like run out of that area or because like
Yeah.
one picture that I have too was actually a wildland firefighter got those pictures and a local friend hunter of mine gave them to me to share and stuff, and they're like a couple of Sasquatches, or it's at least one, but I think I see another one up in there, and it's after a wildfire, and he said that he's seen it, they're like putting like ashes all over itself. Have you seen
Mhm.
that picture?
Uh-uh.
Let me see, I'll show you here. Yeah, and this is down in Oregon, right here. Yeah, so you can actually see it like right here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm gonna zoom in so you can actually see him. And then this is back in like 2016. And if you look closely, you can actually kind of see like eyes and then like a
Yep.
nose. And then Jeremiah over at Bigfoot Society is calling this the Darth Vader Bigfoot. What
Yeah.
do you think of this one?
I think he was trying to mask himself, cover himself up with the ash, change his color so he blends in.
Yeah, there's that one. And then where's the other one? So he's got two different shots here. Okay, and then this one. Yeah, so this one is where you can actually see him like covering himself with the ashes.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at like the width of like this is why people saying there's like no neck.
Yeah.
It's just like a head. And
Broad
I actually
shoulders.
broad shoulders. And then I think this one had kind of like a smoke plume behind it too. But yeah, so you think those ones look pretty interesting, or what are your thoughts on like
Yeah, I
that?
think I think they were trying to like camouflage themselves. They're in a burned area. They're a darker color. They got to lighten up now because everything's burned, so they have to kind of match the terrain. So, and they're not trying to match the trees. They're trying to match the ground because if they have to run, they won't see them.
Yeah, I was looking. That's a good thought too. And I was looking up to see like what the use of putting ash on yourself would in that instance with AI. And it said also if you're burnt, ashes could heal like a burn
Hmm.
on yourself.
Also,
Uh,
get rid of ticks and stuff like
yep,
that.
ticks. Yeah, so it just kind of makes the story even more line up. You're like, okay, that kind of makes sense. So Yeah, when I first saw that, I was like, okay, that kind of makes sense. And when you look at it, it's actually a lot like darker of a black than the trees. And that's what people always say. They're like, yeah, they're just like so dark you can't even see any like facial features or anything, which you really couldn't with that picture until you really zoomed in and you could actually see kind of like the face with it.
Well, I mean, a lot of hunters, you know, hunting black bear, you'd be amazed how hard it is to see black bear in the woods.
How hard it is?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like you just don't see them very often?
Yeah, you don't see them often.
Okay. How many times have you seen one?
I've seen in the woods, seen 3 bear in my entire life.
Okay. I still haven't seen a bear or a mountain lion, but I've held a couple of baby ones. There was that West Coast park down in Oregon, but I think it's closed now. But I was holding a little black baby bear, and she's all like biting on my finger.
Yeah.
She's pretty cute. But yeah, I kind of like mountain lions. I don't know. I probably don't want to get eaten by one, but
I've been around actually up here off of Ladie's Flats. We were bow hunting, and I came into an area that there was blood on the ground and deer fur. And me and my buddy were like, what the hell? And then we seen a mountain lion track, and we're like, all right, switch gears. We're looking for this cat. So we start looking for the cat, and then there was 3 other sets besides that one, mountain lion tracks in the area,
oh
and we are
really?
like, oh no, this is a mom and cubs. We're out of here.
Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a lot of mountain lion reports lately. I think even Oregon City's got some right now where they've been spotted. I just saw one on one of the local newses
Well,
where they walk to the
they're
neighborhood.
finally starting to talk about bringing dogs back to be able to hunt mountain lions because they outlawed it for for a long time. And it's hard to hunt mountain lions unless you have dogs. And so they're talking about bringing it back because there's so many mountain lions now, and they're killing off deer and elk, and they're also attacking people. So
Yeah, I just saw something about that. It was showing like a mountain lion up a tree, and it was like a professional trapper, and he's saying this is why we using dogs is a more humane way to do it because you could tell it was like a female with cubs, and then that way they wouldn't take her out because she has babies. But it
yep.
helps. I guess the males are a lot more aggressive.
Yeah.
According to this report I was listening to. And of course, when I was, I was
And
like,
can't be though. A mom and cubs can be actually more dangerous than a male because the mom's teaching the cubs how to hunt, and so
oh,
they're
okay.
actually hunting for fun and for teaching, not for eating.
Oh, okay, okay. Or maybe it was saying like the males go after the mom and the cubs.
Yeah, that could be.
But yeah, that makes sense too. Yeah, I've heard that where the moms and like the cubs will kind of team up and do all that. I remember in the 90s, do you remember that as a kid? Like you'd see those commercials like stop using dogs to hunt, and
Yeah,
they were trying to outlaw it in Oregon.
yeah, they did outlaw it for a while. Now they're talking about bringing it back.
Yeah. I remember seeing that as a kid. I always loved cats, and I was like, "Don't kill the cats!" But now there's like so many of them. I'm like, I don't know.
Too many hikers have been getting attacked by them, so you gotta do something.
We
People
need to
don't
figure.
realize that they're keeping the cat population down was helping our deer and elk population and everything because they hunt deer and they hunt elk, and now that there's more of them, they're killing more of them, and it's lessening all of our populations of our big game.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I was thinking too. They need like you have like bear spray, but I'm like, I think I'm gonna come up. Probably I'm not gonna actually do this, but like a big can and call it Bigfoot spray. Start marketing it
Right.
like a double can of bear spray. Like it'll get anything.
Right.
But yeah. Well, that's cool. Well, yeah, did you have anything else that you wanted to share with us? I really appreciate you coming on today.
No, that's it. I'm gonna get off here and get to bed. I gotta be up early, so
Yeah, I really appreciate your time, and yeah, you had a really cool story, so I wanted to share that with everyone. So,
yeah.
yeah, again, Shane Anderson, and appreciate your time, and an Oregon elk hunter, very cool. All right,
All
well,
righty.
thank you guys so much, and thank you everyone for watching the show too. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. All right, have a good
All right.
one.
Have a good one.
dark, searching for prints and a mystical spark. Climbing the ridgeline where the air gets thin. The hunt for the legend is about to begin. Chasing the legend through a neon haze, lost in the woods for nights and days. The signal is peaking, the truth won't fade. Hunting the wild with Bigfoot face.
Thank you for watching the Bigfoot Fades show, where untold stories are heard. Pacific Northwest stories, the secrets we keep.